It's like, okay, really?
Understand ourselves that, we're involved in something today. We'd want it to be respected and spoken about in 30 or 40 years' time. So there's no different to us recognising and respecting what clubs, players and people have done prior to us.
Some of the well-known sporting clubs within Victoria and probably Australia weren't founded in 1947, so we have a strong history. And I say to our current board, we're custodians of that. We've got a lot of work to do to be able to build the history back through this club.
Come on, Georgies!
Now, as the competition gets older, these opportunities and these things will start to unearth themselves where we can put some parallels with competitions prior to this.
I think it's a great symbolism and a precursor to the FFA Cup, and hopefully it'll remind people of the long history that we've got. We may have had different chapters in our football history, but it's time to bring the eras together and be proud of the sport.
Hopefully in the next 20 years we'll bring the FFA Cup home and put the two cups together, and we could probably have 64 and 19, what do we got? 20, let's say 2028. Let's put that as a target.
Yeah, welcome back to the FFA Cup final 2019 live from Cooper Stadium. That story there, a beautiful little piece, Harps, it sums up the origins, a predecessor of what has become our favourite competition, the FFA Cup, the Australia Cup. It takes us back to the 1960s, and it's so important to remember where this game has been and where we come from.
Great images, beautifully put together by Benny Coonan, typical of him. He's an outstanding advocate for the game through this medium. But the Australia Cup symbolises why we're here tonight. The work that was
from last year when they won, and it's kind of motivated me to play the game, and hopefully we get the win after.
Excellent, and all the best.
Thank you.
Yeah, what an outstanding player he is, Robbie. The A-League's hottest teen striker right now, and he goes up against Australia's hottest striker.
Yes, and two key players tonight, amongst some others as well, but he's been a revelation, and he's great to watch. He's good on the ball. It's not only about his goals, it's what he brings to the team as well. He's certainly a player that looks like he's got a bag of assists in him as well. And I can't remember who they played, but their first game in the FFA Cup, he was on trial. It was like he had to prove himself to get another game and then maybe a contract, and he went on and did it. It's a great story.
This competition has unearthed El Hassan Toure, but Harps, it unearths a host of other players that play in the leagues below and the National Premier League across the country, and we reward and we celebrate their efforts on the pitch by handing out the Mike Cockerell Medal, and it is so fantastic to pay homage to the late, great Mike Cockerell, who would be upstairs smiling down on what's happening tonight.
Well, we wish we didn't have to give this medal out, to be honest. We miss Michael deeply and his contribution to the game. But it is very fitting that the player of the NPL that comes through any particular cup competition receives the Mike Cockerell Medal. It's a Fox Sports initiative. We're very happy for it to keep going and support it. The family's very proud of it. Michael was a soldier for the game in this country and a dearly beloved friend of many of us. The winner last year was Cam Sober, has put the medal in his pocket and gone off to play in the African Cup of Nations, if you don't mind. So let's track this year's winner and see if he can have the same fortune.
Yeah, look, greatly missed. I can't believe it's over 2 years now, and to Joe and Toby and Daisy, we send our best, and this medal is very, very special to not only Fox Sports but to Australian football. He's greatly missed.
He really, really is. Well, let's find out who the winner of the 2019 Mike Cockerell Medal is right now. Robbie Cornthwaite, he's got the answer for us. Robbie, who is it?
Thank you very much, Tara. It's my pleasure to announce the 2019 Mike Cockerell Medal from the Brisbane Strikers, Fraser Hills. Congratulations.
Thank you very much, mate.
Fraser, this must be a nice recognition for the cup run that you had with your side.
Oh no, it's brilliant. It's amazing to win such a great award, and thanks to my teammates for making it happen, really. So yeah, cheers.
Are you hoping maybe this could potentially lead to something bigger and better for yourself and maybe some of your teammates?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, everyone wants to go further at next level, so hopefully one day it will come around and we can do it. So.
When we look behind you, you've got the whole family out here tonight, the coach as well. Mum and Dad booked their flights down here before they knew you were going to be the winner. They just won't leave you alone.
No, they just keep pestering me. Now, my old man's a big football fan, so Mum treated him to this, and it's just it's brilliant that I've won this award and they could be here to witness it, so thank you.
I might just jump in. Dad doesn't want to be on camera, but we've got to ask him, mate. You must be incredibly proud.
Oh, I'm very proud, yeah. It's just amazing. Like, he's done his best, and it always. So, like,
I'm so happy. You just like, and especially we booked this before we even knew, and it was just amazing, you know.
Great story, and Mum, you must be very proud too.
Oh, I'm over the moon. Yeah, he does really well. Yeah, being so little as well, he does. He does great. Yeah, I'm so proud of him.
Well, just looking at you, I can tell you're a bit like my mum, incredibly proud of her son. So I hope you enjoy the final and have a good night.
Oh, thank you so much
that's
for that,
brilliant.
Robbie. Mr. and Mrs. Hills didn't want to be on camera, but handled it like a pro. You like this one, Robbie.
Fantastic.
His
and
father is a massive
West Ham fan, so Hubs, mate.
But that's not why I got the medal.
It's not, but I tell you what, we're happy he has.
And one of the beautiful stories about this, to talk to the fandom, they've come down from Queensland, the family, bought tickets to the Cup final before Fraser was even mentioned in this whole discussion. So just an amazing commitment to the game, and it's what the FFA Cup does. You know, it connects football fans through every level of the game to Cup final night, and they just happen to have their son winning the Mike Cockerell medal on the same night. It's a brilliant story.
Now they can all sit back and enjoy some beers, I hope, anyway, for the Hill family. Fraser Hills, though, across this campaign, he's been outstanding. He's had a huge week. He was Player of the Year for the Brisbane Strikers, but instrumental to this side, Robbie.
Yeah, look, he was brilliant. Not far behind Harps was Jacob McLean, who was a wonder. Those two players were always the danger, and of course it was Pengelly who knocked in the goals.
Yeah. Well, you know, again, we see the players getting to the late stages of the Cup, players getting picked up by A-League teams. I think of young Lofthouse, who played for Olympic up there as well. Fantastic talent that's available for A-League clubs to dip into, and just got to credit this level of activity in the game that without much thanks, it must be said, over the last decade or so, they've continued ploughing the furrow for players and for youngsters, and now the FFA Cup gives them that added reason to do some more work. It's fantastic.
What do you think? Can he make the leap up to the A-League, to both?
Of course, the semi-final, if we jump ahead to that one, another A-League club. The Mariners were brave. They probably did, in the second half they did deserve it. So, they've earned their place. You get to the final, you don't get lucky in every round.
No, you don't. And you talk about luck, and it's almost like you're taking away from Adelaide, and I'm not going to do that. I love their proposition, but 10 men against Newcastle and a gimme goal, and then 10 men against the Mariners. Yeah. And I've still questioned Alan Stagic's non-use of his bench that night. Once they went down 10, and the excellent Jurich tired badly on that match-winning goal. Anyway, that's fish and chip wrapper now. Adelaide have done what they needed to do, lost 2 games to start the A-League season. They're due a win, and they'll be sharp and focused for tonight.
And I saw you having some chips earlier, by the way.
I always get thrown under the bus, but we have to talk about, and there's a beautiful cup there. Al Hassan Toure, arguably the story of Adelaide United's campaign. I know that we wrap him up. He's so young, but he's shown a lot of maturity on the park, and he's getting the opportunity tonight ahead of their Norwegian striker, Christian Opseth.
Well, Opseth didn't set the world on fire on the weekend. In fact, Adelaide looked a much more lively proposition when Toure came off the bench, and maybe they were resting him for tonight, that first part of the game on the weekend. But he's got a lot of attributes, Robbie. You've touched on a few of them, but one of the big ones is that he's still a surprise packet. Yep. No one's really had to deal with him week in, week out to see how he settles into senior football. And that's a massive advantage for him.
So dangerous.
And you put all the other attributes that he's got, certainly one to watch. And I'm with Slater, the Bulldog. I'll be watching for him getting the ball at every opportunity tonight, because he's the type of player who excites fans.
Yeah. He does excite fans, as does Jamie McLaren and Craig New. Melbourne City overall, well, they did get themselves the title and the tag of being the informed team of the Cup campaign. They, and seeing their new players come and seemingly fit into this side, has been quite extravagant.
Yeah, look, as Adelaide, you can't take anything away from them because they're here, and there's a reason for that. This was a very difficult game for them. They took a 2-0 lead and looked like they might run away with it. Marconi came back at them and could quite have easily had an equaliser at the end, but that's the Cup. You've got to go to these so-called, inverted commas, smaller grounds, and you've got to perform. This was the big one in the quarterfinal. Very convincing win over the Wanderers, and of course they beat the Strikers. Ran away with it in the end. Probably that goal before half-time. I think you commentated that one, Harps.
Yeah.
But that probably knocked the stuffing out of them.
Well, Brisbane scored early, if you remember, and had another couple of chances, and 2 defensive lapses by the Strikers, punished by Melbourne City, really set up the game, and then Brisbane ran out of legs. They were out of season by then. So one of the things we have to do, although you don't like doing it, is to put these results into context to try and understand how both teams have negotiated their way through to Cup final night. And that's the fact for Melbourne City. Point is, they're flying at the moment. They're going to be so hard to beat tonight a lot of strength, a lot of depth, and some very good performances to back it up.
And tell me about confidence and what it does when you're feeling confident, Robbie. Jamie Maclaren, what a 2 months, 6 FFA Cup goals, four Socceroos goals, 2 goals last weekend, 3 days ago. He's on fire, he's in the zone, he's pinned the ears back, and he's doing incredibly well.
When you're scoring goals, Harps was a striker, and he'll know this.
Final, an Olympic Games quarter-final. It's even the place Tim Cahill scored his first international goal for the Socceroos. Tonight, it's all about that particular trophy as Adelaide United meet Melbourne City. Timmy Cahill, of course, scored the winner that gave Melbourne City their first and so far only major trophy 3 years ago. He's not involved today, but his old club looking to make a bit of history tonight. So far in the 5-year history of the final, every hosting team has won the trophy. Adelaide confident they can continue that trend, despite going down to City just 3 days ago in the A-League and having a bit of an injury crisis. And they're hoping this crowd will be their 12th man. Let's take a break. We're going to have the national anthem sung by Joel Wiggins, famous for being on The Voice.
Ladies and gentlemen, this year Football Federation Australia and the FFA Cup started a nationwide competition to find a talent to sing the Australian national anthem at the FFA Cup Final 2019. After being inundated with entries from all over the country, a shortlist was provided to Dallas Watts, a music scholar and singing teacher at the University of New South Wales. After reviewing all the entries, ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding for the Australian national anthem to be performed by Joel Wiggins.
Australians, oh, let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea. Our land abounds in nature's gifts of beauty, rich and rare. In history's page, let every stage advance Australia fair. In joyful strains, then let us see. Advance Australia fair.
Great stuff. As you can see, Joel Wiggins, big Adelaide United fans. In fact, the family all support Noarlunga in the NPL South Australia. So a journey that started with 736 teams back in February, with teams right around the nation, comes to its conclusion at a packed Coopers tonight. The FFA Cup plated with 24-carat gold, and modelled in the style of its predecessor, the Australia Cup, first contested back in 1962, is the prize that awaits the winners. Well, let's take a check on the team news, and Adelaide United make 3 changes from the 11 that started against City on Sunday in the A-League. Ryan Strain is back after suspension, Ben Halloran returns after a stomach virus, and Al Hassan Toure, probably the find of the FFA Cup in 2019, will lead the attack. Jordan Elsey, Mirko Boland and George Blackwood all miss out through injury. James Troisi is, of course, ineligible. 18-year-old Lachlan Brooke is on the bench. Now, 3 changes for City as well. Curtis Good returns to the back line in place of Richard Winbickler. Josh Brillante reclaims his role in midfield from Roston Griffiths. And Uruguayan Adrian Luna gets just his 2nd cup start as Rami Najarine drops down to the bench. Only goalkeeper Dean Bazanis survives from City's cup final win 3 years ago against Sydney. There is Jamie Maclaren, the Cup's top goal scorer this year with 6. He has a remarkable 12 goals in 8 competitive matches so far this season for club and country. He played here in the 2014 final for Perth Glory and lost. Our referee tonight, Queenslander Alex King. This by far his biggest assignment. He's been promoted to the full-time ranks this season, thus giving up his day job as a chippy. And there he is, Al Hassan Toure, who's hit 4 goals in this year's FFA Cup to really announce himself on the national stage. And of course, he got one here at Coopers on his A-League debut as well against Sydney FC in round 1. Reds coach Gert-Jan Verbeek, who won the Dutch Cup with AZ Alkmaar 6 years ago, beating PSV Eindhoven 2-1 in the final in Rotterdam. And his opposite number is Eric Momba, who got to the final of the Emperor's Cup in Japan with Yokohama F. Marinos 2 years ago, but lost out to Cerezo Osaka. Yokohama, of course, closing in on the J-League title under a certain Ange Postecoglou at the moment. So we're all set. The weather has been beautifully warm all day. The pitch, as ever, here in Adelaide is perfect. And we're all set to go for the 6th FFA Cup final. Is Dean Bazanis about to claim a second winner's medal? Ryan Kitto, likewise. Paul Izzo, likewise. Reds Cup specialists. City have got their fans here as well in decent numbers. All hopeful their team will lift the trophy. Melbourne City get the 6th FFA Cup final underway. Will the Reds become the first team to retain the trophy? Or will Melbourne City become the first away side to lift the cup, Andy Harper?
Yeah, g'day, Simon. Well, the form goes with Melbourne City. It's time Adelaide won a game since the A-League started. They've been good enough to. And I think spurred on by this wonderful crowd at this beautiful stadium on a gorgeous night. Here in Adelaide, I think the Reds can do it.
Yeah, the Red Army away to our left appear to have adopted the Oasis tune Wonderwall. Maybe cocking a bit of a snook at Melbourne City. City Football Group used that particular tune, I know that well. So it's the team in all red against the team in all city blue, as it's officially known. And long clearance upfield by Dean Bazanis finds the head of Ryan Kitto, and then subsequently Adrian Luna. I'm sure there will be a few nerves, and maybe Scott Jamieson showing a few there. Turning the ball over, it's Ben Halloran forced wide, and there was nobody really to try and pick out in the middle, and in the end Curtis Good with an expertly timed challenge.
Well, big news for Adelaide to have Ben Halloran back. He was crook with a stomach bug on the weekend and straight into action here. He looks up, there's not a lot for him square. Curtis Good anyway had made excellent ground.
Strain with a little cutback for Ben Halloran, who tries to find a near impossible angle. Here's Morone deputising in the heart of defence for the injured Jordan Elsey. Part of his brief will be to keep a watching eye on Jamie McLaren. Saw that Michael Jakobsen said in the media today, it really is imperative that they keep him quiet today. Easier said than done, Harps, in his form.
Well, I guess the point is in keeping Jamie quiet. If you stop the supply line, he doesn't score goals from taking his own goal kick. So, of course, they need to be diligent. But if the players upfield execute their assignments properly, then that'll go some way to taking the worry of Jamie McLaren out.
Another turnover by Melbourne City. Nikola Miljuznic races clear, but Brillante, whose error it was, has chased back and atoned. And has picked out McLaren. He left it a little bit short for Lachlan Wales, who's done well to retain possession. Big night for the youngster, Lachie Wales, boy from Terrigal, playing in his first cup final. It's way over hit for Craig Noon. Ten FFA Cup ties Adelaide have played at home, and 10 times they have won. However, City have won their last 4 away cup ties on the road. So here's Craig Noon darting into the penalty area, and the deflection might have made it awkward for the Reds defence. It's Swept away in the end by Ryan Kitto.
Well, very dangerous for Adelaide to be watching Craig Noon burst into the penalty area like that so early.
He's been in fine cup form as well, of course, the Englishman. 4 goals to his name. Scored in every round bar the semi-final. Jamie McLaren every round, including the semi. Here's Harrison Delbridge. Steered back into the City half by Michael Jakobsen, former City player, of course. Jakobsen actually won the cup with City in 2016. And there are quite a few players with links to the other club tonight. Scott Jamieson, of course, former Adelaide. Riley McGree was with Melbourne City only last season and joint top scorer he was too. Now back playing with the Reds of Adelaide United.
Well, a lot of the focus coming into the game was from an Adelaide view. How do you make sure Jamie McLaren stays nullified and who's going to patrol him? I reckon closely behind that question is who's going to look after Connor Metcalf, because he's been outstanding. Louis Dorigo has that job in the midfield for Adelaide. On the ball now.
The 18-year-old.
Metcalf has been as good as anyone in the league to start this season.
How about the confidence of Hertjan Verbeek, Andy, to put an 18-year-old in that defensive midfield role. He's taken over from Isaias, no less, in that particular position in the field and said, yep, you go for it. I think you're good enough. Might help, of course, that Mirko Boland is out injured as well, but still taking his chance pretty well. Has Dorigo. This is Brillante. He played in last year's final here for Sydney FC. He was on the losing side that night. Curtis Good gets the head up and picks out Galloway beautifully on that far touchline. Kitto standing his ground. And a second time. Growing into the left fullback role, Ryan Kitto. Started his career playing much further forward. Jamieson. Delbridge. Nicely angled out towards Craig Noon. Ryan Strain was quickly on his hammer. The throw-in has gone City's way, which has rather displeased the Adelaide players and their supporters. Noon finds the gap expertly. Jamieson and McLaren. Well, in the sort of form he's in, you'd have almost put that down as a banker as 1-0 for City.
Well, great chance fashion. This is it's a beautiful effort from McLaren. And the ball is fairly fizzed into him. He's just looked to glance it. I think it was a great option. Just going wide.
Well, he got the 2 goals at the weekend, which ultimately did for Adelaide United, despite a response from Riley McGree. And a big chance to put City in front.
Jamieson with the eyes up. It's a really flat delivery. Just, you can see, going for the glance to the far post. Big question whether Izzo would have got there. Were it to be on target? Good start from Melbourne City.
Slow starts have been Adelaide's problem so far this season. They found themselves 2 goals down pretty early on in both A-League matches so far. Something they have to try and rectify tonight. So far, so good for them. Touré's ball. Aria can't get the better of Delbridge. Laid back by Wales. And then further by Luna. Off the head of Noon. Returned by Maria. Al Hassan Touré. across the face from troubles. Al Hassan Toure came here as a kid. All Maroney, a little bit short. Jakobsen, his central defensive partner, helped him out. Maroney looking to utilise the pace in behind of Nikola Miliusnic, who's got away for the moment from Galloway. It's Miliusnic, and Galloway stood his ground. And Jamison will complete the tidy-up. And there is then a push on strain, so the Reds will have a free kick. It might have been more for them.
Well, it's a beautiful switch of play. The timing of the run from Miliusnic was superb. Maroney with the vision strikes it magnificently and drops it right where he needed to. But Galloway's got a good turn of speed, not just to get there, but the turn and block from that position. A lot of people watching would have expected the advantage clearly to have been with Miliusnic, so fast is he. But Galloway is showing every week, and on that occasion in particular, he's no slouch up against a really difficult assignment as far as speed is concerned with Miliusnic, but Galloway right up to it.
Galloway, another one of the former Reds contingent, of course, was part of their FFA Cup winning team last year. Won the competition with Melbourne Victory as well in 2016, so he's after a third winners' medal tonight. This is Luna. He's got the nod in preference to his compatriot Javier Cabrera tonight. Not even involved on the bench, Cabrera. Not sure whether that's injury related or not. Maroney to... Robbie Cawthwaite is pitch side.
This match so things done when City Scott Jamison moving into midfield, and how much work the City fullbacks have to do. And I think as this match wears on, Adelaide's pace out wide could be the way for them to get in.
Thanks, Robbie. Too close to Metcalf. Jamison wanted to take it quickly, and it's snuck in behind Ryan Kitto. Opportunity post. It was braved by Jakobsen. Kitto's recovered his ground. And Lachlan Wales will claim the throw off Miliusnic. Galloway getting a bit of... Clearly not best pleased that he chose to hop over the border to Victoria during the off-season. He had a good year last year, didn't he, for the Reds?
Yeah, he certainly did. He needed to. He'd been bobbing around the league, moving from club to club, playing but without really settling. But last year, a bit more intensity, perhaps from Ben Halloran in those one-on-one situations. He's certainly got the engines to get past the defender. Just a little bit more clinical with that touch, with a determination to deliver the ball into the penalty area.
Which Riley McGree is about to do from the subsequent corner. And Michael Maroney's on the end of it. No particular issue for Dean Bazanis. Scored an awful lot of goals. Michael Maroney did famously score one in the finals last year against Perth. That crazy game that ended up going to penalties. Ryan Strain, meantime, has cleared the ball clean out of the ground. Hear those boos loud and clear for Scott Galloway. Luna. Sharply taken throw. Lachlan Wales onto it. It was good alertness by the youngster, and he knew exactly where McLaren was as well. Adelaide just switched off for a millisecond. Luna over the top of Michael Jakobsen, set up by McLaren. The effort from Lachlan Wells in the end is into the fence behind the goal. But City looking pretty good.
Well, again, that ball delivered to Jamie McLaren was really good, and it was made to look even better by the run of McLaren. This is just the end of it, getting blindside of Jakobsen, and then a good touch to Lachie Wells, who couldn't come to the party with his left foot.
What's been interesting down here as well is Lachie Wales has looked really fatigued in this opening 15 minutes. Eric Mombarts was up and barking instructions. He was struggling to get back to defend that corner. So I just hope he gets his second win sooner rather than later for City.
Good stuff, Robbie. Thank you.
Geez, it's not very long into the game to be tanking. We might have to get Robbie Cornthwaite to do some more sleuthing down there, as well as his ear-wigging.
You're a funny guy, Holmes. McGree gets the throw off Jamison. Home fans trying to lift the noise levels. Has been a little bit subdued early on. Say the same about the Reds' display so far. Just a glimpse of an opening on either flank for Milojevic and Halloran. City, by and large, seem to have settled the better of the two. Delbridge claiming the foul, but Alex King not interested. Ryan Strain. Jamison in close attendance to steer it away from Halloran, and now McLaren galloping down the touchline and looking to attack Michael Morone. Trying to curl it straight into the midriff of Izzo.
Well, striker with his confidence levels and set this up nicely. This is part of what I was talking about pre-game with Jamie McLaren. Dribbling at players has not been a feature of his game, but he's just flying at the moment. Cop a little bit of a verbal from Metcalf for not receiving the ball. The youngster thought he was in good goal-scoring position in support of Jamie McLaren.
Meantime, Al Hassan Toure is flagged offside. Remember the name, not just for him either. He's got two brothers, Mohammed and Musa, are both involved in the NTC system here in South Australia. Could be the start of a dynasty. Again, that's going to get away from Craig Noon.
Yeah, I've been speaking through the course of the last few weeks. Carl Viet, the Adelaide assistant coach, has been telling me about Al Hassan's brothers. Very impressed is he. Great potential coming through.
Curtis Good just dallied ever so slightly, and Halloran thought there was the suggestion of a foul there against him. Pumped forward by Galloway, awkward to control for Luna. Helped away by Jakobsen and then further by Maria. And it'll drop now for Toure. He'll try and split the defensive lines, and it's a foot race between Halloran and Jamison. And I tell you what, Ben Halloran is quick, and Scott Jamison showed he's no slouch either.
No, he did a good job. Had a decent start on him, but still. Focus of this was look at the youngster. Turn, pivot, half a look. Go on, Ben. I reckon you can get this. And it was a more than decent offering. At least puts Adelaide in a good part of the field to set an attack.
Well, Halloran's just said to his teammate, "What are you giving it to me for? I'm offside." Good, the stadium. Wonderful sight tonight. Lovely weather. Packed stands. All but a few seats sold, and most of them hopeful that the Reds can become the first team to win the Cup 3 times. Apart from that little knot of City blue in the corner. There's There's the travelling fans. They've got a derby to look forward to on Sunday of sorts against a new club, Western United. GMHBA Stadium in Geelong. The Reds are in Newcastle the day before. This is Morone. And he picks out Metcalf, battle of the youngsters with Dorigo. Bounces up for Luna. And Jamison with a real up and under. A chance for Wales to maybe bring it down. Oh, he's done so expertly. Lockie Wales. Well, the finish didn't match the control, unfortunately, for City. But he brought it down effortlessly.
Well, this one from Jamison went high enough to make rain, except we're in the middle of a shocking drought, so that's not going to happen. But what we do learn out of this is, firstly, the control is good, but secondly, Lockie Wales needs to work on his left foot.
His right's pretty good, though. Turned 22 yesterday, Lachlan Wales. Here's Toure, who held off the attentions of the much bigger and stronger Delbridge to pick out Ben Halloran, who's starting for the byline again. Jamison sticks like glue with him, and the decision is goal kick.
Well, to encourage Ben Halloran, even though he's come up short twice in exactly these scenarios, to keep putting pressure on Jamison. And the next time, if I'm Ben Halloran, I get the ball, I'm doing that just a little bit earlier. I think he's trying to set Jamison up a little too deliberately. And of course, Jamison from that point on both occasions has defended expertly. But this is a great opportunity for Adelaide when the ball gets out wide to Ben Halloran, one-on-one. And I just reckon he should, next time he gets it, to mix things up, just go for it, don't wait.
Brelante's gone for it. How about that for a ball? Wales again on the right. And it's Jakobsen to steer it behind for a corner, but it's a tactic that City are using to good advantage down the flanks.
Well, that was really good from Lockie Wales. The ball from Brillante was superb. He hit a beauty in the match against the Wanderers, I think, in the cup match against the Wanderers for Noon to score. Look at this from Brillante, beautiful. And adds to the attack as Wales with an excellent delivery into the penalty area. McLaren's run again was good. But Jakobsen just where his team needed him.
City want Riley McGree back the required 10 metres. They're just checking that before they take it short. Fired in, and Jakobsen up in the air. Delbridge waiting for it. Oh, it's bounced up and hit him. And eventually the decision is handball. Got this completely wrong, I think, Harrison Delbridge. Whoops-a-daisy. I think he's made a terrific start to this season. Harrison Delbridge, remember, no Bart Schenkeveld this year for Melbourne City. Momba has placed his faith in Delbridge, and good. That wasn't me, says Nikola Miliusnic. He's actually searching out a bit of individual history tonight. The Reds flyer, looking to become the first player to score in 2 different cup finals. You might remember he scored against Sydney 2 years ago in the losing final. Nobody else has yet managed that feat. Strange throw over the head of Toure. Delbridge for good. Now they can open up the pitch through Galloway. Galloway might have a crack himself here. Steered away by Morone. Controlled by Metcalf. Jamison darts through the gap. Little 1-2 with Luna. Noon is out wide, building nicely City. Steered away by McGree for the time being. Back in by Good. Off the thigh of Morone. Lifted over the top by Metcalf, and Moroney's there a second time.
Well, Michael Moroney's been very, very prominent for Adelaide in defence. Started the game really well. Entering the veterans class now, is Michael? I don't know. He looks fresh as a daisy to me, but playing very, very well.
Famously sent off in that final 2 years ago after the altercation with the ball boy against Sydney. Oh, that's a lovely ball. Al Hassan Toure, Miliosnic in the middle. Oh, he went near post. Al Hassan Toure! What a finish. He has simply exploded onto the scene in this year's FFA Cup. And the refugee from Guinea has just made himself a local hero. 1-0 for the Reds.
Well, Ryan Strain hits a beautiful pass outside the defence and in behind the fullback. And Al Hassan Toure, everyone thinks he's going to square the ball. But this is a moment of brilliance. Brilliant summing up of the situation. Brilliant vision to see the gap. And then the finish, the technical quality speaks for itself. This youngster's on fire.
Extraordinary maturity for such a young man. His 5th goal in this year's FFA Cup. What a story is building around this young man, who says his mom doesn't come and watch his games because she gets too nervous. But if she's watching on television, she'll be the proudest mum in Australia at this very moment. Very, very clever finish to catch out Dean Bazanis at his near post. And all that, Andy, after you'd probably say that Melbourne City had had the better of things in the early stages.
Yeah, definitely. I'd just come short of saying that the goal was against the run of play, because it wasn't as though Melbourne City were absolutely battering Adelaide's goal, but they were certainly looking strong, really well set up. That's a beautiful ball from Ryan Strain, but I mean, this is beautiful. No extra touch needed. Does all the summary he needs to, has a look, what's available. This keeper's he's having a lend here, he's going to cut my cross off. We'll have a piece of this. And Dean Bazanis can only look with blushes as the youngster finds the back of the net.
Looks as though he's got a few moves on the dance floor as well, given the celebration, Robbie Cornthwaite.
The dance floor and a few moves in the box as well. I can say there was a real element of surprise amongst the crowd down here. A bit like myself, I think we were all expecting maybe a cutback, maybe to pick out Miliosnic, I think it was, in the box, and you guys summed it up perfectly. Wonderful composure to find that near post.
Thanks, Robbie. So the refugee from West Africa, his parents actually from Liberia. They fled the troubles in that part of the world, came to Australia to build a new life, as have so many families from that part of the world. And I'll tell you what, Andy, Australia's going to reap the benefits of that in future years. We're doing so already with the likes of Tommy Deng and Awa Mabil, many more.
Yeah, let's have more of them. Certainly helping us as a football community, and if it can help them, which it very obviously is. But what a beautiful prospect. What a lovely player to watch. It's not just the goal. 2 or 3 other things he's done tonight we've already looked at and really enjoyed. And Adelaide have got their nose in front for the first time since the A-League season started.
Certainly not for the first time in an FFA Cup final. Here's Herchan Verbeek about to follow in the footsteps of Marco Kurtz and Josep Gombau and lead the Reds to silverware. This is noon. They expected Connor Metcalf to advance into that little space. Instead, Michael Jakobsen is advancing upfield. Here's Miliosnic. Toure waiting in the centre, potentially for a second. The cross went over his head and everybody else. field by Jamison. It will go off Michael Jakobsen. Here is the Red skipper, shorn of his normal central defensive partner in Jordan Elsey, who's injured tonight. Of course, he could well be lifting the FFA Cup tonight. It's either him or Scott Jamison, two skippers. Taken over the captaincy this year from SIEs. This is Delbridge. Again, that diagonal switch. This time it's too high for Wales.
It's been a feature of the Melbourne City play. Not really interested in engaging the Adelaide midfield. Really through Delbridge and Curtis Good, looking to fire those diagonal balls to the opposite touchline, open the field up.
Which the Reds might do here. Halloran wants it played early. It's Ben Halloran. Oh, he opted for the cutback. Probably the better option was to have a go from there. Here he is again, but it's a heavy touch. City trying to get busy. Lachlan Wales driving forward through midfield. Wide left is Noon. Noon to try and hang it up, and Izzo had to stretch.
Well, it's not quite what Craig Noon was after. He's been a little bit quiet to start the game. But it was a terrific burst, Simon, from Lachie Wales, and this was the moment that came and went for Adelaide. Will pass through again to release Ben Halloran.
Half an hour played in Adelaide. Al Hassan Toure's goal separating the teams. This is Craig Noon. Just too far in advance of Jamison, who's now out of position. The Reds could exploit that. It's Riley McGree on the ball. And he and Delbridge collapse almost simultaneously. McGree insists it was a foul. Delbridge's smile suggests he thinks differently.
Well, the touch is too heavy from Riley. It's a good idea.
Well, both got down by hit by the snipers.
Yeah, there's nothing that Delbridge has done wrong there. There's no free kick for Adelaide. It's too heavy was the touch, but McGree was found beautifully. Chance to atone now from the kid from Gawler.
Dinks it over the top into the path of Nikola Miliusnic. Back through Kitto, who's lost out to Wales. And City could launch a counter. And Kitto, trying to atone, has committed the infringement.
Well, it can often result in a yellow card. Twice he's had a little grab, and Lachie Wales has rewarded the handiwork from Brian Kitto by going down, but the ref didn't see a yellow card in it. Could have been. Kitto had a great chance to launch the Adelaide attack. Poor technique let him down.
Harrison Delbridge going to inject himself into the attack for Melbourne City. He's strong enough to hold off one player, and he's going to have a go here. Well, why not?
Jeez, I put some into that. And Harrison Delbridge. Another example to support the fact that Harrison Delbridge can handle himself with the ball at his feet. It's a good burst. Look, this is halfway. That's the halfway line is just broken. So he gets past Miliusnic, does the business on Dorigo, a little nutmeg on Miliusnic again, and a thunderous shot.
Not exactly a renowned goal scorer. He hasn't scored in over 2 years in senior football. In the Cincinnati. They were now in the MLS. They weren't when Delbridge played for them.
Decent story though, FC Cincinnati. They had a shocking time of it on the field.
Well, there's their former player, and he got a bit fortunate there.
But averaged the third highest crowds in the MLS of FC Cincinnati. And that's no mean feat, because the crowds in the MLS, bar one or two clubs, are going through the roof.
Yeah. It's Atlanta United that have over 50,000 average, don't they? Here's Kitto up against Wales again. Adelaide throw. It's packed gallery at Cooper Stadium. Enjoying the balmy temperatures and the prospect of maybe another cup success. Gonzalez with the long diagonal. Noon coming back from an offside position. Free kick Adelaide. Just to pick up on your point that you made a few minutes ago, Harps, why is it that Craig Noon has not really been able to get into the game so far?
Well, it's not because of the way they're setting up. So he's deployed wide and those diagonal balls keep getting fired.
Here's one through the guts of the City defence, and Michael Maria's onto it. Toure waiting. It's Al Hassan Toure. As he delayed too long, Halloran. City scramble well and prevent a second goal, but they were all at sea defensively there. And Al Hassan Toure might have had a second.
Well, I might be getting well ahead of myself here, but I think he was too unselfish there. I actually thought when he received the ball, he felt completely confident to do something special. But he felt obliged to try and set someone else up. That's honestly what I thought when he was receiving that. And if I could get into his ear, I'd say, mate, forget that play. The Mark Viduka medal's at stake here tonight. And he could have scored a Viduka-type goal then.
A lovely release by Brillante meantime. Wales, here's Luna inside the box. Down he goes. And Craig Noon was just asking the question as to whether there might have been an infringement. Crucially, perhaps, Luna doesn't protest too much.
There's the ball through for Maria, who's burst out of midfield nicely, cuts it back. It was behind Toure. Just at this point, it's going through his head. You know what? With the sort of form,
the little back
heel or a turn, roll the defender. I'm sure that was going through his mind. And I'd back him in to do it. Just got to get him to back himself.
Ryan McGree trying to burst through the lines. Curtis Good holding him and the Reds up. This is Brillante. They could get themselves a spot of bother here, City. Curtis Good ensured they didn't. Luna. Wales. Got a pitch to advance into. He went very early, did Wales. Jamie McLaren wasn't quite in position. That's a foul on McGree.
Well, lucky Wales showed enormous power in carrying the ball then. Unfortunately, he couldn't turn the power off when he delivered.
Has got his way past Dorigo, who held him back, and Jamison saying, how about a yellow card, Mr. King?
Well, again, it's been a feature of Melbourne City's play. It's a clear foul. I'm happy for the ref to just be a little bit more conservative, although Dorigo wants to watch it because it's completely stopped an attacking opportunity for Melbourne City. But real feature of the Melbourne City performance so far, without an end product, but Delbridge, Jamison,
There we go, an intriguing first 45. Al Hassan Toure is the name on everybody's lips around Cooper Stadium. A lovely finish on 25 minutes, a cheeky 1-2, his 5th in this year's FFA Cup. That's the difference. He might have had a second. City have had their moments. Jamie McLaren whizzed one header wide. Harrison Delbridge had a stinging drive, but they have it all to do in the second half. The Reds 45 minutes away from a record 3rd FFA Cup. They lead Melbourne City at the break by 1-0.
Yeah, got it. All right.
I'll leave the card as is, then they should go out here on the
Sure.
Okay, I've got it on my head now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Who am I going to talk to? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Yep. Yep. Thanks, Dave.
Sorry? Hello, Coach.
Hey, this is Coach here.
How you going?
Very well. See you there at the pod. You hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear.
Excellent. Good test. Cheers, thank you.
No idea what was going on then.
Welcome back to the 2019 FFA Cup final, coming to you live from a pumping Coopers Stadium. Well, can they be history makers tonight? Adelaide United, they chase their 3rd title, coming up against who you'd argue are the informed team in the FFA Cup, Melbourne City. And that man right there, Al Hassan Toure, well, it has been all about Adelaide's teenage sensation, and isn't he on fire, taking his side into the lead as they head into the sheds at half-time. I'm Tara Rushton, welcome back, joined by Robbie Slater and Robbie Cornthwaite. The two Robbies joining you for your half-time show this evening.
Not the two
We
Ronnies.
saw him on screen right there.
Yep.
Al Hassan Toure, we spoke about him pre-game, 19 years old, from West Africa to the FFA Cup. What a story, what a revelation he has been for this side.
Well, he certainly turned the game, because up until a point where he scores, which is, and we'll get to it when we see it, it's a goalkeeping mistake, but he's got the cleverness, if you want, to spot it. He meant to do it, and that's the beauty of it. But as I said, City were quite comfortable up until that point. This has turned the game on the head. They could have had another one after this. Now, here he goes. Bouzanis can't gamble there, Robbie. He can't. Because you look at I think it's Miliusic in the middle. He's covered. And whatever happens, Bouzanis got to make sure his near post is covered.
Yeah, I spoke about it during the first half. I mean, he took everyone by surprise, all the crowd, and particular Dean Bouzanis. I mean, any footballer in any position on the park, you cannot guess. You have to stay in your position, and once the ball gets played and it's into the middle, then you can make your move. But if you're guessing, I mean, he summed it up well, Torre. What composure and awareness to finish from that tight angle.
So much composure, and as we probably saw a little bit later, he could have scored a second goal from his side as well. He's just 19 years of age, and he shows so much composure and so much unselfishness as well out there.
Yeah, I mean, you see in the middle of the park there, he hasn't had a lot of the ball in general play, which, I mean, you see a lot of strikers. Jamie McLaren is a similar type of player, but when it comes to that penalty box area, he just comes alive. This is the one here. The ball just gets stuck under his feet. Harps was the one that was crying out for him to backheel it. I think in the end he's taken the right option, and unfortunately for Halloran, I think it was safe. So another good opening for Al Hassan Toure.
Yeah, look, I don't think a backheel was on, but I think what Harps was saying as well, and I kind of agree, that he could have been a bit selfish, tried to roll it with the outside of his right foot and take it on, but in the end, you can't say he made a wrong decision. You could say at the other end for Melbourne City, they've taken a couple of wrong decisions in their attacking forays against Adelaide.
It's really interesting to get your thoughts on the fact that Al Hassan Toure was playing in the youth team, and he's just so young, and his brother's played, his mum can't watch him play football, and he's grown up loving the game, and here he is in the FFA Cup final doing this in a game that he loves. I mean, this competition has really unearthed such a talent, such a gem.
What it shows is if you give young players a go and you keep giving them a go, they can produce, and Toure's doing that at the highest level in the biggest game of this cup competition. And it's not, as he showed with his highlights, not just the goal he scored, it's his general all-round play. Some of his through balls, the way he holds the ball up, he always looks dangerous.
And it always helps with his personality. He's such a humble kid. He comes from a really big family. I think he's got something like 5 or 6 brothers and sisters. So they'll all be here tonight, and he really expresses how important they are to him whenever he speaks. And I think it's just a good sign that maybe a few more clubs should look in South Australia for young talent.
Yep, that's a good point.
Is that speaking for yourself?
The ambassador for South Australia.
In South Australia. What's been so interesting, we pitted it together in the pre-game. It is the A-League's teenage sensation against the Socceroos striker and a Premier League striker as well. When you look at what Melbourne City have and the players they have on the park as well, look, they looked a bit rattled as they headed into the sheds. They did have a couple of chances. This one right here early in the game, Robbie.
Well, maybe he was surprised because Jamo was able to swing in a right foot delivery right onto his head. But with all jokes aside, I think a player in his form, we've seen him with the national team. He has scored plenty of headers recently as well. It's a chance you'd expect him to take, and unfortunately for City, he didn't. This is another good opening. Lachie Wales brought that ball down brilliantly, cut in on his left, but just couldn't get any pace on the strike.
Well, I think Lachie Wales, if you analyse his first half, looked busy, and he always looks dangerous, but Lachie Wales is in the Olympic team. He's in this side, which is a side that a lot of tipping to go close, not only to winning tonight, but the whole competition. He's got to get better in his decision-making. And we saw a couple of glimpses there. That was his shooting at another left-footed effort. But when he gets into certain areas in that final third, that's what's going to make or break him at the top level.
Well, we'll see what he has in the second half and whether or not Melbourne City can stage an almighty comeback, because Adelaide United, they are sitting well and truly in the driver's seat at the moment. We're off to a short break. On the other side, we will hear from Eric Mombart's Melbourne City coach and see what he has to say and what he has planned for this second half. And do not forget, a huge weekend heading your way live on Fox Sports with the Sydney Derby.
Saturday, live from beautiful Bankwest, the new A-League season rips into gear with the Sydney Derby. Hallelujah, it's the Wanderers and Sydney FC. The Fibros and the Silvertails. Oil and water. That's right, west and east. And yep, you better believe it, never the twain shall meet.
They are still without a win in over 2 years.
Kid yourself talking about wins and losses. Records mean nothing in rivalry games. In rivalry games, all that matters is tonight, the battle at hand, and whose side you're on. Red cards and niggle.
And the derby started to boil over.
Comebacks.
And it's 3-3.
And colour and crowds. Look out, the coach is taking off his jacket. Everyone's rolling up their sleeves. What a contest. The Sydney Derby, the Wanderers and Sydney FC, live from Bankwest, Saturday night, right here on Fox Sports.
Welcome back to Cooper Stadium. Adelaide leading Melbourne City 1-0, and the break in the 2019 FFA Cup final. Al Hassan Touré's goal has lit up this place in the first half. It's his fifth in the competition this particular year. He scored in every round bar the semi-final, and this packed house is hoping that the Reds can go on and finish the job, and the omens are very much in their favour. The team that has scored the first goal in the cup final has won every one of the previous 5, dating back to 2014, when of course the Reds were the very first winners of this tournament. Melbourne City could perhaps do with getting Craig Noone into the game a bit more. Jamie McLaren had one chance in the first half, one very good one, but flashed his header wide. And they have a bit to do to Melbourne City as they take to the field a good minute or so before the second half is due to resume. Andy Harper is alongside in co-commentary tonight as we await the arrival of the Reds for the second half. Harps, what do Melbourne City need to do to get back into this contest?
Well, more of the same. I thought they were reasonably impressive. I would probably try and engage the Adelaide United midfield a little bit more, so the long diagonal balls from the centre halves to either wing have become a little bit predictable, and I think they've looked really dangerous when they've driven through midfield with the ball at foot.
Now, I'm pleased to say we're joined from the sidelines by the Melbourne City coach, Eric Mombar. Bonsoir, Eric. Thank you for your time. Your impressions of the first half?
I'm a little bit disappointed because we make a big mistake and we conceded a goal. But we have to change something to better attack. Maybe find a good balance with diagonal ball, and also maybe play better in between. So we'll do this now in the second half.
You think you did that a little bit too much in the first half, those diagonal switches?
Yes, maybe. Yes, because also Adelaide play man marking, so they are 1-1. Maybe, yes, we didn't find a good balance.
Eric, how important is it for City to win this cup here tonight as a club?
Well, it's important, yes, to win a trophy, but we have also to respect the other team. It's not easy today. We are away. Yeah, we need to find solution to better play in the second half.
Okay, we will let you go and coach. Merci, Eric. Thank you. That is Eric Momba, the Melbourne City coach. And we are all set for the second half. Which Adelaide get underway. No changes made in terms of personnel by either coach at the break. Adelaide defending this imperious home cup record in the FFA Cup. Oh, Harrison Delbridge, cool as you like. He was obviously supremely confident in the abilities of his goalkeeper to read that then, Andy.
Welcome to the second half, Harrison Delbridge. At the outset of which, Simon, can I just clear something up? That chance for Al Hassan Toure, because I noticed Robbie Cornthwaite thought I was suggesting he should have backheeled and whatever. My actual preference when that ball comes in is that he rolls the defender, a la Mark Viduka, after whom the player of the cup final gets the Viduka medal. And then I'm thinking to myself, wow.
Let's just watch and see how this develops. Miliusnic, great ball, chance. Ben Halloran didn't really catch it cleanly at that back post, and it's a routine save in the end for Bazanis.
Yeah, good play from Adelaide United. Just to very quickly finish the point, you're Al Hassan Toure, youngster at the start of your career. You get to the cup final night, you're involved in this movement with a one-touch ball. Miliusnic to the back stick, and Halloran meets it reasonably well. Al Hassan Toure, should he score 2 goals and that other one had materialised, he scores one like Ned Zelic, one like Mark Viduka. What about announcing yourself on cup final night? That's what I can imagine for him. Yeah. I mean, he's not at the level, obviously, of those 2 guys, but
he's chasing the ball down here, which he's done so successfully. He's trying to get around Curtis Good, who's sticking with him. Still Toure. Chance here for Dorigo. And City survive that particular raid, at least for the time being. Toure's won it back. Home fans really warming to the youngster.
And I'm Adelaide United. Coach Verbeek, I'm saying feed the beast, give him the ball, let him play. He's doing Rabona crosses into the box now. Full of confidence, full of ability.
This is Good and Delbridge keeping the ball between them and trying to assess the situation ahead. Galloway brought into play. Luna. City do have, of course, a potential game changer on the bench in Rami Najjarine. There's that diagonal switch again. This time finds its mark in Craig Noon, but he was well marshalled by Ryan Strain, who's having a good game. Right fullback. Toure all wrapped up by Delbridge, but he's got the better of him. Threads it through. Riley McGree's away. Miliusnic square. Halloran as well. It's 2 for the Reds. One hand on the FFA Cup for Adelaide United, thanks to Ben Halloran.
Well, it's way too early to say Adelaide are going to win the cup for consecutive years. It's not too early to say we're watching a very, very special talent. Harrison Delbridge, as I've said repeatedly, He's in tears, the kid. Why not? What a performance. Harrison Delbridge is one of the best defenders in the league. He's a beast of a defender. Look at what Toure does to him. Turns him inside out and threads, not for the first time tonight, a perfect pass. And then the Adelaide players, more experienced, do the business from there. Halloran, a beautiful, composed finish. But look at this kid get rid of a beast of a defender. And then set the attack fair. Riley McGree hard to stop when he's bursting out of midfield like that. And Ben Halloran with the finish. It's a super goal for Adelaide United to send them 2 clear.
And he was just overcome with the emotion of the moment. Still might be. Wiping the tears away, the youngster. What a contribution to this cup final. I don't know if they're getting the broadcast in West Africa. There might well be. He's got family back in Guinea. I'm sure they're tuning in. There's the flag of Liberia, the nation of his parents. I'm sure they probably have some connection to the Toure family. What a great story. Here's Brillante. City have got a real issue now. They had their moments first half. They've got to find their mojo, and quickly. Here's Galloway. Stolen by Kitto. As Milosnic outside it. Reds looking in the move, but that should be the goalkeepers or Delbridge's. Bit of miscommunication. And Milosnic will nip in. Brillante will put it behind. And City in some disarray there defensively.
But all of a sudden they're second-guessing themselves. It's been a very confident Melbourne City since Mombats has taken over. And they're really under the cosh at the moment.
That packed end behind the goal, housing the Red Army. Looking to suck the ball into the back of the net for a third, and that really would probably set the seal on who's going to lift the silverware tonight. Dorigo's corner. Delbridge, tallest as he normally is.
My head's still spinning at what Toure did to Delbridge on halfway. And it's, you know, the unsophisticated analysis, an easy thing to say is, gee, strong. But that wasn't just strength. The way he used his body to get rid of the defender, one of the defenders, he's in my top couple in the league. Look at this.
Oh, Riley McGree with the back heel. Dorigo's ball in. City just hanging on at the moment, off the head of Brillante. Partially away again. Feels for hands by Luna, and Alex King says yes.
It was clearly a handball.
Pressure relieved. They will be relieved.
Look at this. You don't see players do that to Harrison Delbridge, not regularly, not when they're 19. And then McGree and Halloran, look at this. Talk about a guy who feels football, lives football. What a moment.
Well, just an irresistible force at the moment, and Toure's on the ball again. Down the line he goes for Stray, and he's overcooked that one somewhat. Riley McGree's not going to get that.
It's unfortunate. Again, but lead-up play, although with Toure feeding the ball down the flank for Halloran, he couldn't obviously be in the middle to not at home. Not that he would have been able to reach it.
Good win in the air by Wales. Luna's ball out to Noon. It's pretty useful down the line. The Reds fans thought Connor Metcalfe was offside there. No flag. Steered away to safety for now by Morone. Pinched by Craig Noon. That should have been 2-1, and he knows it.
That's sort of where Craig Noon is tonight. Some good things, but not the usual cut and thrust from him. Ben Halloran asleep at the wheel. Morone heads the ball clear. Ben Halloran just dillied and dallied, and it was nearly fatal. Honestly, from inside the box, centre of the goal, everyone was expecting Craig Noon to score that.
Morone. Right idea. Let's go down to Robbie Cornthwaite. Your take on that moment for Craig Noone, Robbie?
Yeah, from where I was sitting, that looked like it was about to nestle in that top corner, and I think the only surprising thing was when it didn't. It was a nice bit of play from him. We know what he's capable of. We just haven't seen really enough of it tonight. It's all been about one man, Al Hassan Toure, and you're just starting to get the sense down here that if Adelaide can get the third, then the crowd might think that they're home.
Thanks, Robbie. You'd probably say Lachlan Wales has been close to City's best down that right-hand side. City are going to make the first change of the cup final, and they're going to replace Scott Galloway, who's run the gauntlet a bit tonight against his old club. A lot of boos. So we've got the Austrian Richard Winbichler with us, who won the Korean Cup with Ulsan a couple of years ago. He and his teammates have got a lot of work to do if he's to add to that winner's medal tonight. That's an intelligent header, though, by McLaren to bring Metcalf into the play. Jamieson steaming forward down the left, looking to get to the byline. Plenty in the middle. McLaren is there. And the decision is a corner. City starting to show some sparks of life, Andy.
A couple of great chances in front of goal. Adelaide need to be warned. You know, 2-goal leads can evaporate. Adelaide players claiming that there was either a foul or a corner. McLaren pretty definite.
Noone's corner, and it was Jamieson on the volley, but to no great effect against his old employers. Never won a major honour, Scott Jamieson, which seems strange considering he's played for a few A-League clubs now, clubs that have won trophies, but he's moved on before they've won their trophies.
Yeah. So the removal of Scott Galloway looks to me like Melbourne City are definitely going to 3 at the back. Jamieson pushing up to an overlapping fullback, Lachie Wales from an advanced midfield position in the original structure will just play a little bit deeper now, so he'll have to make those lung-busting runs up and down the field. An aggressive move from Mombards.
Ben Halloran's been flattened. Certainly got a smack in the mouth from Curtis Good. Yeah, it's that leading arm that's connected with the jaw of Halloran. Just not sure whether he's checking whether he's lost a tooth there. We saw that with Josh Brillante in the weekend.
That was pretty marginal from Curtis Good.
Yeah.
That was pretty marginal from Curtis Good.
We've seen yellow cards as a minimum for less. And Alex King was having a quick debate with some of the Adelaide players who are suggesting that there should have been a sanction for that. He seems quite content to let it ride. Herjampa Bake and his assistants just thinking things over. They're in a pretty comfortable position here. Yet to win an A-League game, but he might be a cup winner in around half an hour's time. This is Jakobsen. Too far wide of Milojusnic. Good climb by Jakobsen. Toure coming back from an offside position. And all really on City now to make the running. Adelaide have Eric Mombard's team exactly where they want them. This is Metcalf. Wales is just going to get away from Luna, but not perhaps from Noone. Had that great chance some minutes ago. And for Wales. Wales' cross is too deep for his teammates. Jamieson can't keep it alive. It's those fine margins for Melbourne City at the moment.
Well, they've got some good ascendancy, however. Adelaide have gone into their shell a little bit. Caution them against that. They paid the price in the first half on Sunday, I think, for being too cautious. much more adventurous in the second half and nearly got a dividend. They need to learn from that lesson. Try and just sit and defend this 2-goal lead, because they got that far in front. They got that advantage from a very positive mindset.
Beaten in the air by McGree and helped on by Toure to the sort of area he knew Nikola Milojevic would be advancing into. It's beautifully controlled by McGree to take him clear of Balante and open up the pitch here. Halloran, and a tap in, Nikola Milojevic. The cup is staying in Adelaide, surely now, as Nikola Milojevic becomes the first player in the short history of this competition to score in 2 cup finals. It's red heaven in the city of churches.
Well, the tactical change from Melbourne City, whilst giving them some good possession, has seen the Sky Blues come a cropper. Lockie Wales, the number 18, can't recover to the back stick defensively. And it's that extra fullback they're missing. Delbridge can't sweep the danger clear. Halloran with a beautiful delivery. Milojevic ghosts in unpatrolled. Beautiful work from the starlet, Riley McGree, to feed Halloran. And the unmarked Nikola Milojevic with the tap in to make the Reds go 3 clear.
And he walks like an Egyptian towards the corner flag. And runs like a cup winner back to halfway, which he surely will be in half an hour's time. There doesn't look to be a way back now for Melbourne City, Andy.
Well, let's put it in these terms. If there is a way back, it's going to be a hell of a cup final. It's already been great to watch from an Adelaide viewpoint.
Mistake by Metcalf. Toure. Not quite. Robbie Cornthwaite, what was your take on the 3rd goal?
Oh, it's absolutely buzzing down here, Simon. I mentioned earlier that Adelaide felt if they could get the 3rd, then it might be game over. What I like about this goal is the celebration. That's actually Jordan Elsey's celebration, and just shows how tight this group is. Milojevic obviously dedicating that to Elsey, who missed the final through a knee injury. So it looks as though Adelaide could very well be home here.
Of course it is. It's just been so long since Jordan scored in the A-League. I don't remember the celebration. But you're quite right, Robbie. Eric Mombar, I'm sure, is considering changes. He has 3 of his subs warming up. Rami Nazarene is, of course, his one potential change, but is it too late? Not quite gone as he hoped tonight, to say the very least.
Well, it certainly put the...
And again, look at the determination of Riley McGree to run that one down.
Well, this has certainly put the affable Eric Lombard's back in his box. Now, Josh Brillante as well. He may as well not be there. And we're talking Josh Brillante here. A super player. And 2 key moments now. Very, very well-credentialed players have been given the brush unceremoniously by young Adelaide players. Riley McGree there to set up goal 3, and Toure to set up goal 2. In final analysis, this will be a focus for Lombards, the individual application or execution defensively of those Melbourne City players. But in isolation, for these guys to do that to that type of opponent, it's huge.
The other thing the Reds have been able to do, largely, is nullify the service to Jamie McLaren. Although you do wonder how different things might have been had McLaren steered that early chance home from Jamison's teasing cross. Craig Noon's been kept very quiet.
Well, he had an even better chance to at least make it 2-1, Noon.
Looks as though Denny Jonro is going to be the first change for Melbourne City. Adelaide, as things stand, set for the biggest winning margin in the short history of these cup finals. Melbourne victory defeated Perth 2-0 back in 2015. Adelaide with a 3-goal cushion. All the others decided by the odd goal.
Well, there's been no odd goals here tonight. There have been 3 corkers.
This is Luna. Wales. Square is Bimbikla. Jamison. Luna dropping shorts. And it's just not quite happening for City. Here's that change. And Conor Metcalfe has had such a good run in the FFA Cup this year. Maybe not quite been at his best tonight. He's certainly not been on his own. He is replaced by Denny Jonro, who spent last year on loan with Pek Zwolle in the Dutch Eredivisie. Played 10 games for them. And is part of the Ollie Roos squad that is hoping to qualify for the Tokyo Olympics next year. He's quickly into the action, earning his team a free kick. That's the sort of spark they need.
Well, Dorigo's been great tonight, but that was silly. And again, from the youngsters' viewpoint, he's seen off one of the outstanding youngsters so far this season in Metcalfe. I'm talking Dorigo. He's had a job of making sure at that right defensive midfield position that Conor Metcalfe can't get through, doesn't feature in the game. He's just seen him off. It's a great feather in his cap. Now, you don't give away silly free kicks on the back of it now. Give any sort of platform to your opponent.
See if City can make it an interesting game. It's towards Delbridge, but it's too high, even for his lofty frame. There's a bit to think about, isn't there, for the Frenchman? As mentioned in the first half, back in action on Sunday against Western United. A derby of sorts. We've got the Sydney derby, of course, coming up in the A-League on Saturday. What an occasion that's going to be at Bankwest Stadium. I'm sure the sellout signs will go up there within the next 24, 48 hours. Reds fans thinking that was a foul on their man, Milouznic, by Bimbikla. Alex King said no.
Wow. Not a minute ago it was a foul up the other end of the field. Is this shoulder to shoulder? Close enough, I guess. Certainly from the angle the ref might have seen it. Certainly not as clear-cut as Dorigo's infringement. Good little hustle that from Bimbikla. He's been put on notice about the speed of Milouznic directly once again.
At the midway point of the second half, if there is going to be a stirring comeback by City, it needs to start soon. Too straight, too long for Lockie Wales, who showed some good signs in the first half. And Paul Izzo, after the break in particular, Andy, relatively untroubled. Just that one effort from Craig Noon that flashed wide of his right-hand upright. No real save to make. And on balance, because of that, you'd probably say, given City's early season form, they've been somewhat disappointing tonight.
Well, a couple of goals might have changed it, of course. It's to state the obvious, because goals change games. But certainly the Noon one, that's the one that comes into sharp focus for me. Here he is on the ball. Just not his night. Really, he's looking a bit tight. Maybe the heat. Is this the first game in heat that he's seriously played? He's been so good till now, just not quite on the edge as Noon has been. Brillante conceding the foul. A little nibble there from Luna as well. It wasn't much from Josh Brillante, in truth.
Michael Jakobsen has been commanding at the back alongside Moroni. Ryan Strain gets the throw. Comes from a great cup family, does Ryan Strain. His mum, Lorraine Baker, as she was before she married. Ran at the 1984 Olympics for Great Britain. His grandfather was Jerry Baker, who won the cup in Scotland back in 1959. His uncle was Joe Baker, who famously went along with Dennis Law to play in Italy back in the early 1960s. It's a fair bit to live up to. Maybe Mr. Strain has got a bit of strain.
Puts a fair bit of strain. A bit of strain on him. Look at us rolling him out, eh?
Here all week, Hubs, like the schnitzel. Christian Opseth is going to be with us next break in play. Well, they're just going to check on the well-being of Ryan Strain before they make that change. Jakobsen faced by McLaren, who gets away from them. Could be a chance here. Lockie Wales, has it got away from him? Still there for Luna. Blocked by Jakobsen, who just threw his body in the way. Still there for Noon. McLaren, what a turn by Jamie McLaren. And again, Michael Jakobsen, who has been immense tonight, stretches out a boot and puts it behind for a corner. Quickly taken, short, floated in by Jamison. Delbridge throws himself at it, but can't make a connection.
That's a great effort from Melbourne City, putting Adelaide under good pressure.
Now Ryan Strain's just sat on his haunches. Maybe they're thinking about a different sort of a change. Meantime, Melbourne City are going to bring on Rami Nazarene for Craig Noon, who's just not really hit his straps tonight. Chance for the youngster to make an impression and try and make it, at the very least, an interesting finale. Well, this is going to be the biggest round of applause of the night. Al Hassan Toure, what a performance. He'll be on the back page tomorrow, make no mistake.
Well, who could imagine it when you're a kid in a family fleeing war-torn Africa, that you could come and make a home in Adelaide and have 15,000 people stand to cheer you as one of theirs. You can only imagine what that feels like.
Special night for him, very special. But he's earned every one of those.
He certainly earned it, and I hope Verbeek hasn't gone off too early, because there's still 20 to go. And a goal can really set the cat amongst the pigeons, and City have looked like they've got it in them. And their focus psychologically must be not to look at this a 3-goal margin.
Here's a chance potentially for City.
Forget the 3-goal deficit. Let's just get one and see what happens. You know, teams that are able to do that, Simon, experienced players that are able to just forget the big picture and hit the first target, can then get to the big picture. But you fall into the trap of thinking we've got to do this all at once, and it doesn't happen for them.
Here's a chance for the Reds to extend their lead further. Christian Opseth just off the bench. Opseth blocked by Good, still alive. And over the top it goes from Mile Usnic, who was looking for a double.
No, it's a good effort. Good effort from Mile Usnic. Good work from Opseth. He just didn't have the speed to go through with it. Beautiful ball from Riley McGree. A fine performance from him. Just didn't have the speed to get past Good, and then the technique to nudge him out of the way, step across him, but his setup was good. It was a good second effort from Opseth, and Usnic tried, did well, nice effort.
Nazarene, square for Brillante. City searching for hope, for a toehold in the cup final. Ashereen, too much on that for McLaren. Miliusnic. Opseth. Oh, lovely ball by the Norwegian. Square is Riley McGree if they can find him. Here is McGree! The cherry on top from the boy from Gawler. Riley McGree makes it 4. Get the ribbons out. Get the red ribbons out. The cup is staying here in the City of Churches.
Well, Coach Jan Verbeek can just stand and applaud. And 15,000 Adelaide fans here tonight can join their coach and dip their lid at this wonderful move from this super young team that have cut the riches of Melbourne City to ribbons. Cut them to ribbons here in Adelaide. Not an answer, but a goal again from Riley McGree, who sets one up and then helps himself on the turn to one for himself.
Well, he left Melbourne City to come home during the off-season. And this is quite a homecoming tonight. The Reds dishing out a cup final hammering to Melbourne City. They can scarcely believe it. And Melbourne City, as you rightly point out, Harps, who've been so promising in the first couple of rounds of the A-League, have just been torn apart.
Well, 4 breathtaking goals here from Adelaide United. Not a tap in amongst them, in the sense that I'm sure you'll understand. Beautiful, flowing, fast, crisp, confident, positive.
Well, a goal now would surely just be consolation for City, if they can even get that far.
He's something special, Riley McGree.
Oh, there's a bit of afters with Jamieson, and Jamieson wants to take it further. This could all kick off here between McGree and Jamieson. Teammates, of course, last year in Melbourne. Jakobsen didn't really need to get involved. The 2 captains now squaring up. And Jamieson does have a bit of a short fuse. And Alex King has got to try and resolve all this in as cool a manner as possible. The 2 skippers.
I missed it completely. I saw the play going upfield and Adelaide away. And just sung the praise of Riley McGree. The scoop over the top. It's collected by Jamieson.
Yeah, that's what angered McGree, who took his own revenge.
They both get a yellow for this, I'd say.
And then Jakobsen decided to get involved on behalf of his teammate. And that's when it all got rather tetchy. It's a booking for Jamieson, a booking for McGree. That ends in a handshake. And that's enough, according to Alex King. Which, given the state of the contest, is probably the right decision.
Yeah, well, you were wondering if there was any history from the 2 playing at the same team, and sometimes these things can bubble, but both of them very, very quick to go and make sure that there was nothing lingering, so we can dispel that speculation. He's fiery too, Jakobsen, isn't he? He's played superbly tonight, the Great Dane.
Yep. A contender for the Mark Viduka medal, in your opinion?
Or are
you going to go for
I can't go past the kid, but it's not up to me. we'll have more to say about him in coming weeks, but I've not been as excited about an attacking player coming through Australia in a long time because of the type of game he plays.
Who does choose the winner of that medal?
I don't know.
Is that a media vote?
I don't know, but let's throw some speculation out there, because for Adelaide, look at the kid smile. What a player. Would watch him every week and will do through this A-League season. Moroney and Jakobsen, outstanding at the back. Riley McGree, outstanding. He's hardly got a mention tonight. There was a lot of speculation about he might leave them a bit short in midfield, but Michael Maria has been outstanding. The left fullback playing in the centre of the Reds formation.
Here's Nazarene, found by his goalkeeper some 60-70 metres away, slung in by Delbridge. It's too high for Wales. And Halloran will let it roll out for a throw.
And just a stunning night. Every which way in Adelaide. The Cup Kings indeed.
Yep. There's little dispute about that. They're going to win the Cup for the third time, a record third time.
And that was worth all the effort that young man has made in making that little model cup to bring here on Cup night.
Denny Jonro is the latest to fall foul of the referee. Frustration creeping in for City. It's been a hugely disappointing night for them. And the young substitute is booked. Deep in contemplation is the Frenchman. About to lose his second cup final in 3 years. I'm pretty sure even he wouldn't have believed his team would be so outplayed tonight.
Simon, stop press. I think I've just seen the FFA official running around, picking up Mark Viduka votes around the press box.
There you go.
We'll wait with bated breath to see if we're invited.
A yellow card issued to Ryan Strain for a off-the-ball incident where Alex King is accusing him of elbowing his opponent, Lachlan Wales. So his copybook is somewhat blotted. And City have a free kick. Almost dead centre, clipped in by Luna, wide towards Delbridge. Hasn't won an awful lot in the air tonight, and he's not won that one either because it's come off offset for a corner. Work short, Nazarene. Deflected, could have gone anywhere. Jamison went down looking for a penalty. Alex King waves those appeals away. Brillante heads off the danger at the other end. City have got to take some risks, but it's surely too late. Nazarene around the corner for Luna, slung in by Wales. McLaren, desperate for a piece of the action, only takes a piece of the goalkeeper instead.
Again, dangerous run from Jamie McLaren. Nice ball hit in by Lockie Wales. I don't know if that's not a penalty, you know. Well, that's definitely contact there. Free kick is the right outcome.
Chested down by McGree. Oof, Delbridge clattering into Milojusnic, but ruled a fair challenge. Did win the ball. Nazarene. So he got the trickery to get away from Kitto. It's good enough to get a corner.
He's a great little player to watch. I mean, Nazarene hasn't quite settled in the eyes of the coach. Not enough final product. Well,
yeah, there's a bit of contact there from Halloran. Anyway,
total contact.
Nazarene's corner. Luna to drill it low. Too many bodies in the way, and it pops for Jamison. And that sort of sums up Melbourne City's night. Adelaide going to make their second change. Riley McGree's going to get a big hand as well. A goal and an assist for him tonight.
Yeah.
A local hero along with Toure.
Excellent game. He's an outstanding prospect for Adelaide and Australia.
Nathan Konstantopoulos gets a taste of the cup final action for the last few minutes. Jakobsen. That's a useful ball for Konstantopoulos. Could there be more here for the Reds? Jamison. Kept honest by Halloran. Strong run by Denny Jonro. Lachlan Wales. Jonro. Wales again. McLaren can't reach it. It's palmed away by Izzo.
Yeah, good goalkeeping. He didn't have to tie it. He just had to get cleared. Good little sprint from Izzo to punch that ball clear once it got there.
Five minutes to go. Nazarine's corner. Ryan Strain's header clear. All the way back through Josh Brillante. Harrison Delbridge now operating as a centre forward alongside Jamie McLaren. They're just desperate for something. It doesn't look, and really hasn't looked in this second half, that Craig Noon chance aside, like they were ever going to get anything.
Melbourne in the first half, couldn't nose clear. Adelaide came back into it and then just blitzed by beautiful goal scoring.
And the noise around Coopers lifts another decibel or two. A crowd of almost 15,000 inside, and they're loving this. Kitto losing out. Delbridge. Down the line by Maria. Vin Bickler sees it out. France against the Netherlands on the benches, and it's the Dutch that have won out quite convincingly this evening. Jamison, Wales, not quite enough on it. Halloran had no right really to get through that gap. Konstantopoulos wanted it played to him.
Ben Halloran's had a really telling impact on this game, setting up goals and running down the right-hand side, and just thought he might have slid that one through to Konstantopoulos. 5 being greedy for the Reds.
Well, let's just listen to this noise. This is wonderful. There's just something about this competition at Adelaide United, isn't there? I'd say the same about the Asian Champions League as well. I love knockout football in this part of the world. Here's Miliusnic. Not quite what was required. Rami Nazarine didn't quite realise that ball was intended for him. He's on the same wavelength now. Luna. John Rowe won't quite be able to reach the return. Nazarine. Didn't get a touch from Strain. Goal kick.
He's been troubled by that tight hamstring cramping or whatever for the last few minutes.
Well, this is the luxury of having a 4-0 lead in a cup final with just a couple of minutes to go. You can afford to give an 18-year-old a taste of the big occasion. Nikola Miljuznic had a really good game tonight as well. The first man to score in 2 cup finals. It set up the 4th for Riley McGree. He takes his leave. And Lachlan Brook is with us, just 18 years of age. And another one, Harps, from Gawler. Real breeding ground for top-class footballers, it seems. Here he is on the ball. And he's won it. Konstantopoulos. Halloran. Turned into traffic, but he's won it back. Or rather, it's Obseth, our mistake. Jamison managed to scramble back. And that was Halloran dragging down his opponent, and he gets a yellow card as we move into 4 minutes of stoppage time. Wall ringing out. There's the Izzo army. There's not an awful lot to do to excite them, really, second half. And just in terms of going forward for City on the back of this halves, they've got to regroup pretty quickly for that game against Western United. But yeah. I mean, can this have an effect on a team's season, at least in the short term?
Oh, look, of course it can. I don't think it will. I mean, it's a great squad of players.
Just a bad night at the office.
And key moments they didn't capitalise. Adelaide right on the edge when they had goals to score. They were brilliant. And it's been a really fun night for Adelaide United, who are going to win the cup again. But if I'm a Melbourne City fan, you've had a decent old haircut here tonight, and it doesn't knock you off your stride for the rest of the season. They're too good for that.
All academic now for City. They'd like to get on the scoreboard at the very least. Vin Bickler tripped by Obseth. One happy lady, one happy terrace, one happy club at the moment. Melbourne City club handed out Eric Mombar glasses at the weekend. Maybe they should start dishing out the baked wigs here at Cooper Stadium. You'd be the first to invest, Harps, I'm sure. You having to think about that one?
Well, I was just going to say, I don't know how it would go with my Movember Mo.
Yeah.
I have to always think about that song.
It's not a good combination to think about, to be fair. He's just gone along the line at the bench and done the high five. He knows the job is done. Here's Jean Rowe. Is there consolation? Jamison! Not even that at the end for the former Adelaide United fullback.
Well, this one sums it up. For Melbourne City. A couple of key chances came and went for them and just got blitzed by some wonderful Adelaide United play, which has given them a 4-goal lead in the 2019 FFA Cup.
Glance at the watch from Alex King. Champagne is on ice here in Adelaide. What a mighty performance it's been from the Reds. There it is. Cup Kings indeed. The biggest ever margin of victory in an FFA Cup final. Al Hassan Toure had a night to remember. He certainly wasn't alone. The Reds, the first team to retain the FFA Cup and the first team to win it 3 times, as Melbourne City become the latest away side to fall victim to the cup final curse. Herjan Babang follows on from Josip Gombau and Marco Kurtz. 3 foreign coaches, 3 cup final wins, 4 goals on the night from Toure, Halloran, Miliostic and McGree. It was a cup final hammering dished out by the Reds. Adelaide United, FFA Cup winners 2019. Let's go down and get some reaction with Robbie Cornthwaite.
Thank you very much, Simon. I'm joined by Al Hassan Toure, the man of the moment for Adelaide United. You're the 2019 FFA Cup champion. How does that feel?
It feels great. Considering I was watching from home last year, winning the cup means a lot. Like in front of the home fans, support from friends and family. It's been a joy to play.
At the start of pre-season, did you ever imagine you'd be out here tonight scoring goals, bullying defenders?
No way. This is a dream come true, to be honest. It's been a long time. We've been working hard, and it's just a dream come true.
Whereabouts are your friends and family sitting tonight, and what do you think that will mean to them?
It means a lot to them. They've been my #1 fans since day one, and I just wanted to let them know that I'm always here for them, and yeah.
Incredible job, mate. Well done. Congratulations and all the best for the rest of the season. I'm joined by another goal scorer, 2-time winner of the FFA Cup now. How does that sit with you, 2-time FA Cup winner?
Yeah, I never would have thought I would have won it twice coming from where I came, but it's solid effort by the boys, and to come out and win by that much was very positive for us going into the season as well. So very happy to get the win and just static for the boys, everyone involved. It's just a really good feeling.
What was this crowd like? We had almost 16,000 in here tonight. How much of them did they give you a boost?
Yeah, every time we come here at home at Cooper Stadium, they give us so much energy, and it really helps us in the dying minutes, and especially when we're going forward and we hear those oohs and ahs, they get going, and yeah, it's really good.
Pretty tight group. I'm imagining that celebration, I'm sure, was for one of your teammates who doesn't get to use that celebration all that often.
No, he doesn't. When he does, he uses it well, but yeah, no, he had a bit of a problem and couldn't make it. coming through all the rounds, and then to miss out on this one would have been very hard for him, so I tried to get him involved a bit. Oh, motherfucker.
Yeah, we'll let that one go. Thank you very much. And Ben Halloran, another goal scorer. Ben, congratulations, 2-time winner as well. How does it feel to finally get over the line?
Oh, didn't see that coming. It was an odd game. I mean, I think they didn't deserve to lose 4-0. I think we fought really well. Yeah, it's a pretty stinking post-match speech. Every time after a win, it's hard to know what to say. I'm just over the moon that we won.
Well, instead of talking about your